everybody. Welcome to the FIA Show. And what does that stand for, guys?
Forget it all!
Yay! We're fucking PG now. That's awesome. Okay, that's right. The FIA Show. Forget it all. That's awesome. Okay, I forget what we were talking about now. I got Lynsey and Scott Foster here from the Foster Lawn team. Woo! So I'm super excited to have you guys out. I know you guys, I was going to say intimately as well, but that sounds awkward. But, well, and then I was going to say we had a baby together, and that sounds even worse. So, but the reality is that like we were side by side when we had our first kids.
Like literally side by side.
Seriously, yeah. 8 hours.
Room.
Yeah, I know. They took our celebration room. 8 hours apart, right? Lulu and Lila?
Yes.
Yep.
Shared midwives.
Yeah, totally.
Your baby got the hair, ours didn't.
Yeah, but now your baby.
Unforgettable.
Yeah. But I'll tell you a little bit about these guys. Lynsey's a real estate agent extraordinaire. She's been a real estate agent for 6 years?
6 years.
6 years now. And started from the bottom. No, I'm just kidding. But started out doing it, hustling all on your own, and then building up and buying a team now. Like really buying into a team.
That's very true. Business acquisition.
Yeah, totally. It's huge. And then you brought this guy on. I'm just kidding. And
okay.
Yeah, and this is the other love of my life here, Scott Foster. Okay, and I think this is really, really powerful because we always talk about not always talk about, but we see a lot of couples that work together, and you guys on the outside make it work.
Yeah. On the inside too.
It's working.
We have fun.
And then you just had your second kid as well too.
We did. Yeah.
Scott looks great, doesn't he?
Yeah. I shed the baby weight in like a minute.
Yeah, totally. You do look good. You guys both look good. But you know what? And I think I was excited to talk to you guys because you have 2 kids now. You're growing your team rapidly. You own real estate as well too, and that sounds tiring to me, having 1 child and just talking about it.
It sounds overwhelming when you list it off, actually.
Seriously?
Yeah, a little bit.
Just sleepless.
But you guys do it all. So I think, you know what, like let's first talk about you guys working together because that just started. Scott is a golf pro too, so if anybody's looking to improve their swing.
I don't do that anymore.
No? Okay.
But I do play for bucks.
Yeah, yeah. I'd be the guy losing all his money. Okay, so, but Scott just got into real estate within the past year,
yeah.
Right? So, which is awesome. So, tell me about you guys working together. How does that dynamic work with you guys?
Well, it wasn't forced. But Scott has a really interesting story that when we had our first baby, as a real estate agent, I wasn't entitled to any government leave. Mm-hmm. And so Scott, in a salaried position, was a stay-at-home dad for 8 months. And his return to work was not necessarily well received. And it gave him an opportunity to go into a completely new environment and start a whole new career. So when we sat down and looked at all the variables, we decided we would take that plunge together. That's
actually pretty cool. Like you guys took, that beautiful time having another kid together. You took the paternity leave and sort of planned for that trajectory. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Were you scared about like having the whole family, kids, and 100% commission?
Yeah, scared of starving.
Yeah. Okay.
I came from the industry. When I was in the golf industry, it was different, right? You could rely on a paycheck every week. You had benefits. Like I'm a type 1 diabetic, so because of that, we're forced to buy into a benefit plan. It costs us $1,000 a month.
Wow.
But it's just what you got to do.
Yeah. Any advice that you give to people like that are working together or trying to grow a business together as a couple?
So we had to set our roles really clearly. Like for example, Scott is the money man.
CFO.
There you go, money man.
Leaving me open to the position of CEO. More important.
I feel like you guys have t-shirts when you get home.
No, we just have tattoos on our chest. Nobody ever forgets.
Awesome.
But it helps in the day-to-day routine because I know that I don't have to deal with anything that has to be financial.
Yeah, no, that's cool.
Because then that's a loophole for me that I have trouble with.
Yeah.
And that trickles down into our personal lives as well because Scott handles all of our home bills. Because if he didn't, things would be repossessed pretty quickly.
Yeah, funny story about Lynsey when we first got married.
Did you clear the story? No, I'm just kidding.
She called, was it the hydro company? Mm-hmm. It's a story, I seem to have lost the invoice. How much do I owe you? oh, $600. Can I send you $1,200? That'll be just fine. And then I'll see you in a couple months. She didn't realize that if she didn't open her mail, the bills didn't get paid by themselves. She had the money.
It's just like my organizational skill to like know. I just don't know how to do that.
Yeah.
Scott does really well.
Yeah, I was 28 years old, about to have 2 heart attacks over one issue.
Well, I think you guys have done a good job then. You need to define the roles, so then you're not overlapping. I'm sure there's still times where you guys overlap each other, but.
I mean, we both have opinions on everything that the other one does, certainly. But if I'm going to handle all of the marketing for our business, and I'm going to set our business model and put together the plans and the protocols, and then Scott and the rest of our team can follow them. And
Cool.
that's my expertise. And if Scott can handle the behind the scenes things, then it keeps everything rolling. And it's one less thing for he to think about in some fields and for me to think about in others.
I like that. Totally. Know your strengths, and I'm a big believer in making your strengths better and not focusing on your weaknesses.
And trust that your partner can handle those things on their own,
totally.
to not micromanage.
I think that's a beautiful thing when I see couples that work together, because there's no one else that you're going to have more trust with. Right? Like when you
I like
anyway. Yeah.
My mom's nice.
I tried to give you a layup there, Scott. No. So you touched on marketing. So you know what? 2018's been a totally different year than 2017.
Big time.
I know our business has transitioned a ton from, we did 75% purchase transactions last year. Now we're almost 75% refinance and renewal.
Wow.
So it's a big shift in the market. How are you guys, dealing with that, marketing to that, and looking to sort of take on the next part of this year as well?
Yeah, so we're in the middle of rebranding, which Scott can speak to because he's ordered everything that now says Foster Long. He spent a lot of time sourcing and ordering things so we could further market ourselves. Part of the business acquisition for us included a very large database.
Yeah.
But that is a purchase of a number of people who have no idea who we are. So for us, there's been a lot of legwork in tapping into the market that we've essentially paid for, to let them know that we're out here ready to do business for them. So that's been a big portion of our last 3 or 4 months.
So let's, because that's the one I really want to talk about too, because I think a lot of us get into commission sales and we just create a job for ourselves and we end up going through the rat race kind of thing and just going out and doing things, and you guys stepped it up a level really quick and you're doing commission, and then you bought a business to really leverage and grow, right? So, and I think you guys did that pretty young in your career too, which is awesome, because a lot of people wait 10, 15, 20 years to do that, right?
Yeah, well, I'm 32 going on 56, so.
Yeah. It's where the gray's coming in now, right?
Poking hard.
So what would you say to other, real estate agents or even mortgage brokers that are looking to buy in or acquire a business? What would you say some good thoughts are, due diligence conversations, or things to think about if you're going to go that route?
I think that everyone's always looking for a win in any type of contract negotiation you're having. Biggest fear we had was going hungry and being scared that it wasn't going to work properly. But at the end of the day, we figured that it was better to take some of something than nothing of nothing, right? So we jumped in with both feet and signed our deal and never looked back. I think that's just got to do it. Yeah,
it wasn't an overnight process by any means. It was almost 2 months of back and forth contract negotiation. I think everybody came out feeling like they were winners. Yeah. But in the same breath, like throughout the process, you felt like a loser the whole time. Like there were not a lot of warm and fuzzies.
I think that's important. I've been through partnership negotiations too, and there's been times where I wanted to walk away. And then I really had to check in with myself to see whether or not I was reacting emotionally or logically. Yeah. Because sometimes I'm like, fuck that! I'm way more than that, right? But then you got to sort of like back up and sort of think, okay, like.
Well, and I think it's probably the first thing we ever really disagreed upon, like fundamentally felt differently about. Yeah. We natter at each other, but we are almost the same person. We see eye to eye on everything. And in this one instance, there were several parts of the contract negotiation where like I couldn't believe I disagreed so much with Scott.
And I still can't believe I've never slept on the couch. Unless it was my own doing.
Yeah, I don't believe that either.
So you're like talking about like your family's livelihood, like your money, where your money comes from, how you're going to structure your family, how you're going to like physically go to work every day. Both being realtors is one thing, but being realtors of something that you are owning and thereby have obligations to, because full disclosure, like the acquisition that we have, part of it is a remuneration to the person we purchased it from. So we're not 100%ers yet.
Yeah,
is the way to put it.
and that makes sense. I think that's normal, right? And I think I'm super I'm really proud of you guys to see you jump into all that all at once and sort of get it done. And I think how would you guys give advice to another couple looking to take on a big decision like that? Because you said you'd see eye to eye on most things, but in that one you didn't. How would you guys resolve that?
I think we drew a couple Venn diagrams. Honestly, there was a couple pros, cons, or things you think, things I think, and this tiny area of things that maybe we agreed on in certain circumstances. So
cool.
It got pretty literal in some cases.
Also, if you have some sort of mentor or someone, I spoke to my brother, I spoke with you.
We called you crying.
I spoke with my father. Not everything can be bounced off your partner, especially when you're going into business with your partner.
This was the time we needed a third party to walk us through it.
Yeah,
cool. I think that's really important to say too, because I know a lot of times I've even been guilty of is trying to make decisions on my own, and you really need to reach out and ask other people for their opinions. Right?
And normally that's your number one life partner and your best friend. I would ask Scott his opinion on everything, but in this case, I wasn't asking your opinion on the things that I was vehemently disagreeing with. Yeah. Finding other.
But that's good though, because I think at the end of the day, where you go and get your advice from, you can choose to take it or not, right? Yeah. And you're just bringing more dialogue to a conversation.
Yeah, just receive more data, be analytical about it and see what's the best option.
And we were blessed that we had people to call, that we had people a dozen people to call and weigh everybody's opinions and then push them all aside and do whatever we were going to do anyways, right? That was.
Well, it's funny, you get all those decisions, and then you can just be I want to do it.
Yeah.
So you say, fuck it all.
I like it. No, I think that's great. And you know what? I think we talk a lot about real estate investment, and I want to talk to you guys about that too, because that's another thing you do. But have you ever heard of this guy named Dan Locke? You guys ever heard Dan Locke before? Anyway, he's got a book called Fuck You Money. Google it. It's really, really good, and he's really funny to hear, right? But he says, and it just sort of resonated with me the other day, the best investment you can make is in business. When you guys think about what you're doing right now, you spend $1,000 on marketing, you could have a $10,000 commission.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean? When you invest in the stock market, real estate, we talk about private lending and all those things, they can have really great returns too. But when you guys take that risk, and it seems so fucking scary, right? But that can be the biggest returns when you take those biggest risks too, right?
Yeah.
Cool. That's awesome. So let's talk about real estate investment. You guys bought 3 houses in 2 years.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Yeah. Totally.
This is you love it.
It was serendipitous, really. Because I wanted a house.
Yeah.
And I wanted a very specific kind of house. Architecturally, and then when I found it, I didn't have any money, so you came in and saved the day. It was the only reason I got that house, and you couldn't live in it because it was so repulsive. So then I had to take all the rest of my money to make one floor of the house livable, so that I could then chip away at the rest of it.
I think we took 3 weeks sanding those stairs down.
Yeah, there was some blood, sweat, and tears, and some crummy contractors, and we took a couple of years off of our lives for sure. But the house wasn't large enough to accommodate Scott and his ego, so
I bought my own house. I bought my own house.
True story.
45 minutes away.
Yeah. And that's how we
That's how you really got together.
Yeah, exactly.
45 minutes
bonded
away.
a relationship.
Yeah.
So I had a semi-detached house in the ghetto that was 140 years old, and Scott had a semi-detached house on the golf course that was 14 months old. And
I won.
we would drive back and forth and see each other.
I didn't drive anywhere.
No, I mostly came to you.
And then they got engaged. Yeah, totally right.
No,
but then you guys ended up, because I think that was the cost of admission. You need a house, now we can get together and buy another house, right? And then you guys bought another house, right by your house, right?
Yep.
So
when the neighbor came up for sale.
Yeah.
It was, and it's excellent. That was the right house.
Yeah, it was special. Double brick, 120 years old. Ripped everything out of it and put it back together, and
It's excellent.
So what would you say to people who are nervous about investing in real estate or think that they can't do it? What would you tell those? What do you tell your clients who are thinking that?
Talk to Brian at Mission35.
Well, can we rewind that and say that again?
Just going to get your best interest rate. No, you have to jump with 2 feet, and you need to be savvy as well. I mean, what Scott bought was in an up-and-coming neighborhood. It was close to a college. It was backing onto a golf course. So for a million reasons, we knew that was appreciating. He bought his house in 3 or 4-way competition.
3, I think.
I did not give up any commission.
Yeah.
Just for the record.
I didn't even get a closing.
I
Well, you
got-
weren't
I got
married yet. You weren't
fully
married yet,
paid on
so,
that.
yeah.
Scott's girlfriend got fully paid on that transaction. And then my house.
We're on the outs.
My house needed the kind of work that made it an appreciating asset. I'm close to
Right.
the hospital, so on paper, all the data added up that these houses were strong investments. So it wasn't that they weren't well researched. So
Yeah.
what am I telling my investors? Like, the research is the important part.
The numbers.
Are you buying in the right neighborhood? Is this going to have the money back to you? Is it rentable?
Yeah.
I mean, in both situations, we rented the investments that we had bought for our personal homes, both to great ends and to like really scary, horrible ends in some cases.
Yeah,
Like,
and I think that's part of it, right?
when
It
Scott
happens.
turned his house into a student rental,
Oh, I remember that. Yeah.
wasn't our best time.
We did not finance the
Yeah.
student rental.
Awful.
It was a regular house first.
Yeah, but yeah, it was
Yeah, it was.
actually.
It was, I know. Yeah. That was your
Then it
doing.
was 17 bedrooms.
No.
So what would you say to people in this market right now? Because a lot of people are saying, you know what, it's really, really expensive, right? Even though the market sort of adjusted a bit since last year. And I'm sure you guys have clients, we have clients too that say, it's really expensive right now. I don't know if I can cash flow. I don't know if now's a good time. You know, maybe it's going to go down more. What do you guys say to those people?
Personally, I think the market's always going up. Like, it might have gone a little bit ahead of pace before, leveled off, now it's back at it. Like, when's the last time you seen something that was 160,000 in Hamilton? 5 years ago? 6 years ago?
Yeah, it's been a while. Yeah. No, I
Right?
agree. Yeah.
It's not going back.
Yeah. Best line I heard was from the builder of Mattamy Homes. He was quoted in the newspaper and he ended up saying, I've never seen houses as expensive as they are right now. And I've been saying that since I was 20 years old.
Yep.
It's just a
And he's
consistent
60.
Roll, yeah.
Like, it's just, it
It's
always feels that
inflation.
way. Yeah.
So, time to get in is now. Stop paying rent to someone else.
Yeah. Oh, I agree.
And it exists too. I mean,
To the landlords in the back.
Stop
Yeah,
paying
yeah,
to
yeah.
buy.
Yeah, unless you're renting my house.
Like Scott just did a deal tonight for 180,000. So the other,
Like, it's, papers aren't fully signed. I can't say anything.
Okay. Well,
but it's out there, and
Yeah.
I think that from our perspective and like helping people throughout most of Southern Ontario, like if you call us, we'll go. And so last year we did deals from Port Colborne to like half the way to London. We
Toronto.
had our Muskoka board license, so
Oh, wow.
we could go in that direction. Like, and you can educate yourself on the market with the information provided to you as a realtor, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you know the neighborhoods, you know the people, you know the grocery store. Like, you don't have that inside knowledge. So myself, being a born and raised Hamiltonian, 30 years drinking this water.
hey, I'll have you know, it's a high topic. We have some of the cleanest water in Ontario. It's in Hamilton.
Like tested 2
Yeah.
billion times a week or something.
Totally.
It has.
This came from a German brewmaster. That another craft brewery has a brewmaster from Germany, and he tested the water before he came here.
And he said it was the best.
He said it was better than Germany. Better than Germany. Yeah. Anyways, I love Hamilton.
I think it's
So.
the expertise piece, right? So
Yeah.
when you're, for the investors specifically, if you're looking for these houses and you're coming with somebody that's from out of town and maybe isn't as familiar with the neighborhoods or what is up and coming and what's in its renaissance, then in terms of your bottom line, having people in general that know what you're looking at, where you're looking at it,
Yeah.
is so valuable.
Yeah. I think that's important, right? Having a realtor that knows investment property, right? Because a lot of realtors don't. Let's face it, right?
When you can know doors and screws and windows, but it doesn't mean that you know what the neighbors are doing and what's happening 2 streets over and
Yeah.
where the new bus stop is coming in,
Yeah.
which I have intrinsic knowledge of.
And where the LRT is going
Yeah, exactly.
as well too, right? So what's next for you guys? Like, so you've got 2 kids, you've just bought a real estate team, you've got real estate investment.
Yep.
Is it time to take a break?
No. Build the team,
Yeah,
build the family.
yeah.
Build the investment
Wait,
portfolio.
is this more kids?
Yeah.
I'm having
She
one,
owes
so
me one.
Yeah, obviously, yeah.
I'm not actively pregnant.
Yeah.
No, we're shooting for twins.
Yeah. So what are you guys doing to build the team right now when it comes down to recruitment and things like that? Find people in the marketplace right now, there's uncertainty. Are you guys doing anything right now?
Yeah,
to
there's
sort
like a
of
little
build?
hot sheet when we do a deal and somebody is like excellent. It's like a little like write it really small so no one can ever find out. But like this guy was an ace, or on the other side of the page, like don't ever consider.
Yeah. Piece of
and
shit.
approaching people, and it's really awkward. It's like asking like for a bad date. It's like, I know this is a lot, but if you're not doing anything on Saturday, could you cover my open house and join my team? Like it's very awkward. And we've invited,
But
I think we've probably interviewed 4 or 5 people, from which we've only taken one by mutual terms.
We're looking for a
Yeah.
specific person though, like someone that's gonna gel well with our type of
We're looking for a specific
attitude,
personality.
Yeah, totally. I think that's really important. You know what? We talk about our culture at Mission 35 all the time, and it's like, I call it the FIFO method. It's fit in or fuck off.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And the reality is because like we have great people here, and I think by just trying to have massive growth, you can jeopardize a lot.
Yeah.
Well, I've worked pretty hard on some training systems and some protocols. So, like, I know that I can help an agent be their best version of themselves, and I know that with the work that we've done and with what we have going on in the marketplace, I can feed that agent and make sure that they're busy and they have people to see and places to go. What I can't do is like make them a part of our environment. So we just got a co-op student, which is the greatest thing in the whole world. Like, this kid is amazing. But I told this co-op teacher, like, we really enjoy having him here. I would totally do this again. But I specifically like him because he's not sensitive. So like, if you're gonna get us another kid, please don't send me a sensitive one, because they wouldn't laugh.
Because we will damage him.
Like this is a real estate office and it's not PG rated, unlike this fucking show.
Yeah. This freaking show. Okay. What would you say? You know, I've thought about that. Never gone down that road. But you mentioned like co-op kids. Where do you find that? Where do you?
They came to us.
He came to
really?
us.
Yeah.
His grandpa is one of our return clients, and he had an interest in it. He's the first person from his school's program ever to enter a real estate office.
Oh, right on.
And he said that he'd called a couple of other people whose names were recognizable to him, and they weren't interested in his free labor. And I was like, come on down. And the first day when he showed up in like a full 3-piece suit and shiny shoes, I was like, you don't need to do that. And then he just like took a deep breath and was totally at home. So.
And came in with his shorts and t-shirt.
No, yeah, he's excellent. Yeah. He's excellent. And
clothes optional. He's 18.
He is 18, which was the other benefit, because he can, if he wanted to come on a showing with us, or if I'm going to stage a house, then he can come with us.
And
which
he
is
can
also
learn the ropes and that
yeah, certainly. And we've been integrating him pretty deep.
Yeah.
So when you talk about finding the right people, I agree with that too. Do you guys have sort of like some values or traits that you'd look for first, or you'd tell, like, what would you recommend to other agents or other people hiring people? What are your sort of like deal breakers too for somebody?
But they need to be incredibly good looking.
Yeah.
We line our headshots up, and if you're on the end.
Okay.
Yeah, Photoshop doesn't do this.
Yeah.
No, in our interviews, like, I haven't referenced people's sales numbers because I think it's irrelevant. I haven't asked people what's your volume, because again, I think it's irrelevant. When I worked on my own, I spent a lot of time watching Maury, which is on at 4 o'clock, and Dr. Phil, which is on at 5 o'clock. So like, I know what it's like to be self-employed, and it isn't necessarily a true reflection of like your ability to be a salesperson,
right?
Or like how hard you're willing to work, because until you're being funneled that by somebody that is a superior to you, and that's when I really excelled personally, is when I found myself on a team.
Yeah.
Because I had an obligation to someone other than myself.
And you had work to do.
Absolutely, it was being handed to you.
Yeah.
What you did with it was a whole other thing.
Well, I think some people are good workers and some people are good self-employed. Like, it depends how you're sort of intrinsically motivated, right? That's what you are.
Well, and I'll tell you, being a family of 4 people will intrinsically motivate you to work really hard, really quickly, for sure.
Bet,
so, like, in interviewing these people, it's more about like what are their core values. One of the statements that we have as a team is that like we are an ethical team, and we work in an industry that spans the gambit in terms of how people are running their businesses and their sales skill, and so it's important to us to always be ethical, but to train that as well, because sometimes you're not.
Well, I think some people are or aren't. Like, some people are going to walk the gray, and some people won't.
And some people aren't doing it on purpose. Being poorly educated can also be a reason to not work in your most ethical manner, right?
True.
So making sure that these people have like a true center and a goal to this, and that we're helping people, that's important too.
I like, you know what, we have the same thing. Like, we always say we're in this business for a marathon, not for a sprint, right?
It can't be transactional.
No, and it's like, because I think you get paid in spades if you do the right thing for the right person, whether that means walking away from a deal here or a deal there.
Yeah.
Right? And I think that is hard to train to certain people, but
and we've walked away, but also I think that a lot of it is personality too. Like, we have a certain persontality.
Yeah, you guys are dry. Oh
Most boring.
Yeah,
it's the only way we do it.
But
we have a certain personality and a certain work ethic, and like we're not afraid of having 1,000 people come through the door and say no. Like being in the golf industry, like I managed 150 people at a time, and I interview 1,000, 2,000 every year. So like, it's not about being a yes man to everyone and just giving everyone a shot. Like you need to gel. If you don't gel, like if you can't get along as friends first, you're never going to be able to work together.
It reminded me of something, the Four Seasons. You guys know the Four Seasons, right? Yeah. You know how many people they hire or how many people they interview for the doorman position? On average, they'll get 1,000 applicants, interview 100 people for the doorman.
It's insane.
And that's why it's like, top service in the world is because no matter what you do, they're looking for the best.
Yeah.
Right?
It's been handpicked.
Yeah.
Well, and you spend all of this time and all of this money on branding yourselves, and having just gone from one business to becoming the Foster Long team and the process that took, you're not just going to slap anybody underneath it and say, like, just go.
It's
go
tempting.
Make us some money.
And I know I've been that tempting because you see people that are successful in your industry that you might want to be associated with or bring on, and it's tempting, but then you know deep down that they might be a cancer in your business. Have you guys ever had anybody like that you're sort of like, ooh, we should, but they're such an asshole?
Maybe not an asshole, but yeah, all the time. And you look at their track record and their reputation and just make some conscious decisions. I mean, we have a beautiful office. It's 2 office spaces joined together, but you're still within arm's reach of the people you're working with, and you need to see them every day.
I sit across from her every day.
Yeah. We do. We stare each other
wonderful.
deadpan, like our desks face each other, and we sit like that all day.
What is love?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
My neck hurts.
Very cool. Well, just, you know what? Wrap it up, guys. Like, what's next? So, so you're going to end up continuing to grow the team. Do you want to buy more real estate?
Yeah, we're looking right now. We've looked at probably a couple different properties, and it needs to be the right fit. Like, I'm all for trying to do a flip or getting another rent. Well, doing it. It's because you don't know how to do any of the work, honey.
Yeah. Neither does Scott. I want turnkey.
Oh, now it's getting good. Now it's getting good. Yeah. Hey, you know what? It's okay. I can't. You know, one thing I did want to talk about when it comes down to doing work quick, because what do you guys feel about getting help in the family? I know you guys get help with the family because you got 2 kids and it's hard to do everything.
Yeah,
right?
so they say it takes a village, but it's not a village. It's just like a really good payroll. So there's the nanny, and then you need to monopolize the local babysitting market by offering more than your competitive families, so that you have a couple girls to call when either the nanny isn't available or you're going to be late, and then. We own the house 2 doors down, as was part of our story, where we've moved my mother in. So there's live-in help 2 doors down that you can now. One baby's 2 years old, so we can stand on our respective front porches and watch her boat over.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's
that's hard. Because I think from the outside looking in, sometimes before, I remember with Wendy, we used to, on Sunday afternoon, we'd sit and watch Netflix all day, being hungover, and just be and now we're like,
I wish.
How do we do that? What do we do with all of our time before we had a baby? But I think it's important to know for people that are looking to build a business, especially have kids, there's so much shit that goes on in the background that you
childcare is expensive too.
Yeah,
totally.
childcare's not cheap.
What do you guys think about because some people say, well, you should stay home. Do you know what I mean? Because I know that's a tough conversation.
Oh,
I did it for 9 months. I did it for 9 months. And I loved it, but I got paid to do it.
Yeah.
So if you're not making money,
yeah,
I don't think any is right or wrong, but I'm just curious, because
you need to go to work.
No, that's totally subjective. I enjoy being pregnant. I very much enjoy having babies. They're beautiful, wonderful little creatures. I could not do that for 12 hours a day. I would go absolutely insane.
Well, I know with Wendy too, my wife, I know she got a lot of flack for wanting to go back to work, and I think that is tough for women because a lot of times, it's almost a guilt. I want to go back to work, and I'm going to have someone help take care of
Certainly.
it.
Well, and I look at several of our colleagues that have had babies in the past 2 years, and I would say I can't pinpoint one of them that has stayed home. In fact, most of us have been at work within a week and a half of delivering our babies. In different scales, of course, small to large in some cases. But I don't think personally, and I think a lot of ladies that are in our industry are really driven and we enjoy working.
I totally agree.
I think I can speak for more than just myself, but I want to be at work.
Yeah. And I think that's cool. And I think for anybody listening or hearing that, I think they need to hear that because I think sometimes people can be made to feel guilty. And I don't think you need to, right? I think it's kind of whatever you want to do.
Yeah, well, and we've got such amazing flexible schedules that.
And it's good balance too.
Yeah.
Like on weekends, we'll swap in and out. If both of us are double booked, then her mom will step in or the nanny will come back.
It's the only job where you can just like say I'm taking a Tuesday as well, right? Like
Yeah,
being your
that's
own
true.
boss gives you the opportunity to schedule. Like, have you ever been to the zoo or the aquarium on a weekday and just relished the fact that you didn't have to go on the weekend because
Go
your
to the
schedule
Lion
allowed
Safari.
you to not
There's a good
elbow
one in
people?
Niagara. I like that.
Lions Park?
Zoos,
No, the
isn't that
zoo.
zoos?
Yeah,
or like
zoos?
Niagara Safari.
Niagara Zoo? I don't know. There was
Yeah.
lions and tigers and bears on mine. It was really good. It was good.
Scarecrow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome, guys. You know what? I really appreciate you guys coming out. And I want to thank Collective Arts as well, too. Everybody got Collective Arts? Woo! All right, everybody's too deep now, so it gets really loud. So it's good, right? And I want to give this to Mom,
Oh, thank you.
okay? And this to Dad. There you go. You need that because you're
Oh, there was a shot glass.
yeah. So I've been a great big thank you guys. I
Thanks
really
for having
appreciate
us.
your advice, support, and I wish you guys just so much success. And I'm super proud to be partners with you guys as well too.
Thanks, Brian. Thanks for having us.
Thank
All right, guys. We'll see you next time. Thanks so much.